Okay, so let's talk about integers. Integers. Okay, so integers are basically whole numbers, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are whole numbers, and their opposites, such as -1, -2, -3, -4. I'm looking at a number line. You have 0, you have the positive numbers, you have the negative numbers. Right? And those ones that I'm pointing out right there are integers. Those are integers on the number line. And sometimes they'll use this term, set of all integers. And you'll see this in textbooks a lot of times. And they'll use this symbol right here, which is, that's not parentheses, that's braces. Braces. And they'll say, okay, well look, you have -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, it keeps going on. And then notice that it's kind of like a number 2 and a letter S. Kind of like that. That's how they make those. And we use those for set, the set of all integers. You'll see this many times in textbooks. So if you notice, it's only right on the numbers. Anything in between there, any fractions or decimals, are not integers. So think of them as counting numbers, positive and negative. All right, so now let's look at what, for example, this is an integer, -221. But that is not an integer because it has a decimal to it. It's in between -221 and -222. All right, let's take another 700. That is an integer. But if you had 700 and a third, see that's a fraction there? That is not an integer. Now this looks like it's not an integer. I mean, that's a fraction, but really 20 divided by 5 is just 4. So that value right there, 20 over 5, that's 4, the value, that's an integer. But if you had 21 divided by 5, that's 4 1/5. Now that's a fraction. That's not an integer. All right, so what do we learn? Integers are, there's positive and there's negative integers, right? They're not fractions and they're not decimals. And you can see what are integers and what are not integers. So integers are whole numbers and their opposites. And maybe you've heard this term before, absolute value from last year. It's the distance from 0 on the number line. We'll work with that later.